Griffin families, Mr. Grewcock here. I just wanted to take a quick look at what we'll be studying in maths throughout Spring 2. So we're just coming to the end of our fractions topic and are now moving on to decimals and percentages. This will take up the lion's share of our learning throughout Spring 2. Then we'll be taking a look at perimeter and area and learning how to measure perimeter and area. Now, I just wanted to take a few moments just to talk about decimals and percentages to give a little bit of a pre-teach before we start looking at this in our morning sessions. So, decimals and percentages are another way of expressing part of a whole, just like we've been doing in fractions recently. So if you take a look here, I have drawn 3 separate bar models, and I'm going to shade in 1/2, 1/2. So our denominator, the 2, tells us how many parts are in the whole as a total, 1, 2. And our numerator, the top number, tells us how many parts we have, so how many are shaded in, 1, giving us 1/2 or half. Now, decimals and percentages are just another way of expressing a fraction as a part of a whole. So, we first of all have a decimal. Now, if I fill in 1/2 of my bar model, if we accept 1 whole is written like this, then a decimal that is half of it would become 0.5. And to prove this, if I take 0.5 and I added another 0.5, well, 5 plus 5 is 10, so there's a 0 there, carry the 1. The decimal point is here, so that stays there, and then 0 plus 1 is 1, giving me 1 as an answer. So a half as a fraction, written as a decimal, would be 0.5. Now, with percentages, you'll have seen percentages at home if you have, let's say, a device at home like an iPad or a phone. You'll notice when it is fully charged, when the battery is full, we have 100%. So, 1 whole is equal to 100%. Therefore, if we take a look at our bar model again, if I have half as a fraction or 0.5 as a decimal, I now need to figure out, well, what would that be as a percentage? Well, if I take 100%, and just like before, I divide it by 2 to make it half its size, well, 100 divided by 2 is 50. So it would be 50%. This has proven that 1/2 is equal to 0.5, which is equal to 50%. We'll be doing lots of more work on this over this half term. Thanks so much.
Hello Griffin families, Mrs. Quick here. I'm going to talk about what we're looking at in a quite short half term this term for Spring 2. In English, we're continuing to look at the book The Arrival, which follows on from our topic from last half term, which was all about MAFA. And we're going to continue looking at how to use advancing action through dialogue. When we talk about that, we're talking about moving things on through speech. And to do that, we have to use correct speech punctuation. We call it a speech sandwich in Year 5. There are different steps that the children can take to ensure that they're using the correct speech punctuation. And then we're going to think about what the subject is actually doing while they are speaking. For example, "Do you have to go?" she whispered, closing my suitcase. Instead of saying, "Do you have to go?" she closed the suitcase. It advances that action as you are speaking. "Do you have to go?" she whispered, closing the suitcase. And our narrative will be full of sentences like that. We're then going to move on to an informal letter, which incorporates our new topic for this half term, which is all about the Victorian era. and the children are going to be writing in the first person as if they were a Victorian child who has been sent to the workhouse, which were very, very harsh places. To do that, they're going to use some Victorian slang or some colloquialisms, and by that we mean things that aren't proper English. Just words like ain't, gonna, giggle mug's a favourite of mine. It just means someone who's got a permanent smile on their face. So hopefully their letter will be full of slang terms, colloquialisms, and we'll really get the feeling of a Victorian child. To do this, it'd be really, really helpful if your child could perhaps do a little bit of research on workhouses, especially how they affected children. What were they like? And they were quite harsh places. How do the children think that they would feel if they were in a Victorian workhouse? Some of our values will come into this too, like empathy. If they put themselves into those children's shoes, it would be really, really helpful. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Griffin families. Mr. Grewcock here. I just wanted to take a moment to talk about our curriculum topic for Spring 2, Revolution. So, Revolution is all about studying the Victorian era, with a focus on the life and reign of Queen Victoria, the impact of the Industrial Revolution, and what a child's education was like in that time period. At home, it'd be really good if you could do your own research on the Victorian era. Maybe create a timeline of certain things that were created throughout the Industrial Revolution, or a fact profile about Queen Victoria herself. We can't wait to study this topic in Spring 2. Thanks so much.